Although a stupid person who popped up in the audience brings on Article 2 here in our discussion today.
Yeah.
In the paper review this morning, I had a unionist pop up, and I asked it. I was already in the rant when I seen this comment, so I put it off there. I gave the guy some facts, and I didn't complete the facts. Okay. But then I didn't tell the mods to get rid of him because I couldn't be bothered with that level of stupidity that early in the morning. My dog's sick. I was out to 2 o'clock this morning. The whole fucking fleet was in. And I get back up again at fucking 7 to write the show. So it was a wee bit crabby.
Right.
But anyway, what he said was Scotland had a deficit of 10.4 billion and couldn't afford the independence. Now, David, what is the word that you use to describe Scotland's deficit?
Non-existent.
Notional. Notional is you keep fucking impressing upon me. I kept saying nominal, but nominal and notional are different because nominal means the amount is ambiguous, whereas notional means the amount is fantasy. But I thought we better clear this up for people where Scotland's alleged debt comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Because an awful lot of people won't be aware of where this so-called Scotland's national debt comes from. It comes from the Treaty and Articles of Union. And in the Treaties and Articles of Union, when Scotland joined the Union, it agreed to take a per capita percentage of any debt that union created. What they didn't understand was we were getting immediately a portion of England's debt to allow the Scottish king who had taken the crown down there to be able to afford to keep financing his war on 2 fronts against the French and the Spanish.
Okay.
Right. Now, Scotland, of course, as we know, fast forward to now, legally Scotland cannot have any debt. It's in the 1998 Scotland Act. And Scotland's never had any debt. Scotland's always contributed more to the Union than what it's got back. That's why in 1910 they stopped publishing the proper figures, and in 1996 they had to come up with the JERS because people were asking questions.
Yeah.
So they come up with the JERS to make it look as if Scotland was giving less to the Union than what it was getting back. Something we know is a lot of bollocks. But how they did that was through the tax regime. So some taxes were reserved and money apportioned to Scotland, like alcohol revenue, tobacco revenue, oil and petrol, fuel revenues, and oil and gas production revenues. All right.
Well, hang on. Just you're bang on when you talk about that, right? But there is a figure that England accepts that Scotland has raised, right? Now, the latest figures I've got in this particular block that I'm looking at, right, is 2018. 2018, Scotland raised, this is not including your VAT and all the shit that goes along, Scotland raised 59 billion, 30 million pounds in revenue, right?
I'm talking about the public sector, David. We're not talking about private sector because we had done that as well.
Just take in that 59 billion, okay, right? Then we got back from the Treasury 36 billion. There's odds, there's coppers on that, all right, okay.
Right.
So effectively, what you're talking there is 23 billion that is being spent for, not spent in Scotland, but spent in England, baby. Yeah, usually in England, right? And at the end of the day, it's like we take our independence, even if they got like 100 Philadelphia lawyers to prove that Scotland has got 10 billion that it owes, right? Which it doesn't. I'll tell you what, we're well covered. So fuck off of that blooming figure, whoever brought it up, right?
Okay, now let's get into where the figure came from. Now, the figure it comes from the Treaty of Union, and the Articles of Union, where the Scottish the Scottish government of the day agreed to take on a per capita proportion share of the debt. So the 10% they're talking about, or the 10%.
And England was in debt, and Scotland wasn't.
That's
at the
right.
time.
We'll get to that in a second. Right?
Yeah.
We only have an hour, David. Can you let me get through this?
Yeah.
Okay, that's but right. Now, I want to explain where the 10.4% of deficit comes from. The 10% is our per capita share of the UK debt while we're in the Union, but only while we're in the Union. The 0.4% is what we actually pay, and that's the annual interest on it.
Now, can you imagine that situation? Imagine that situation. Let's say that David went out and got himself a new outfit, a new wardrobe of clothes, right? And he got it on tick. And he said, David, you're taking, let's say 30% of that bill. You're responsible for it. And I'd go, what? That's effectively what's been done to Scotland. What's happened is
and telling you you're going to pay 30% of it. You're right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But that was the agreement, and you can look it up. That's the agreement in the Treaty Article of Union.
Yep.
But what it specifically says is the moment Scotland leaves that union, that liability belongs to them. Yes. And we knew that because of Mr. Salmon pushing the Treasury on it during the 2013-14 campaign.
Yeah.
We knew that the minute we left the Union, the debt was Westminster's.
Yeah.
Scotland had no liabilities whatsoever for it. The liability only exists because of the wording of the treaty, and that is while Scotland's in the Union, it will shoulder its share of the Union's debts.
Where we were
left the Union,
right? Where we were in danger of taking some of that debt is if we continued using sterling, which we have no intention of now, because we become independent. We will be going for our own individual currency, right? And it has to happen that way. It must happen that way. We cannot afford to use sterling.
Anyway, because I blasted this union on this stupidness, because we know in the 1998 Scotland Act, Scotland can't run a deficit. The only borrowing power Scotland has is to borrow some of the same money for infrastructure, but it's going to pay it back to the Treasury.
Yeah.
And that's only 2% of the Scottish Bloc Grant.
Yeah.
Which is buttons. We're talking hundreds of millions when the Scottish Bloc Grant has fallen from 66 billion at its peak to 54 billion at the moment.
Yeah.
54 or 56, I need to look the latest figure up. It's been hamstrung by 11% since 2016, we know that. The budget has been, Scotland's budget has been cut by 11.9% since 2016, we know that. These are facts, indisputable.
Well, it's not only, no, before that, we changed from the aggression system to the Barnett formula, right?
Aye.
And the change from the aggression system to the Barnett formula cost us about 2%, 2.5%.
2.2 billion, but that happened because of George Osborne changing how oil and gas was taxed.
Well,
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, right.
Right, let's move on, because I just wanted to explain how Scotland has this so-called 10.4%.
Yeah. But as you can see, there's many roads at it. With Scotland's well covered. See, we go independent, forget it. Don't worry about anything.
One of the things I could have taken issue there with what you said was Scotland is now going for the same currency. Because you know me, David, Scotland has a currency. I've got it in my wallet. What Scotland doesn't have a central bank to print it and license it.
Correct. And what have we already got, which is ready?
The National Investment Bank and the Green Investment Bank. We get
the National Investment Bank very easily can be taken over to become our central bank. Not a problem.